Welcome to No Flipping Excuses with Jason Lucchesi. Jason Lucchesi was the guy voted least likely to succeed by his high school peers. Today, Jason's a real estate flipping ninja Jedi Knight assassin who's taken his drive, street smarts, and never give up attitude and converted them into a real estate flipping business and freedom-based lifestyle. After years of being chained to a cubicle in the mortgage business, watching his coworkers go bust, customers go bankrupt, and his hairline go bye-bye, Jason decided to make a change and blaze his trail to the flipping promised land. Each episode, Jason shares real-life real estate case studies, tips on how to find, finance, and flip deals, and mindset tactics he uses every day as a real estate investor, mentor, and leader so you can free yourself from the shackles of corporate America, fire your boss, and live the life you've always dreamed of, right flipping now. Here to share the truth about flipping houses, finding sellers, delivering buyers, real estate investing without the reality show hype, and all-around general business badassery. Your host, Krav Maga enthusiast, husband and father of 3, Jason Lucchesi.
Hey there, what's up? It's Jason Lucchesi with the No Flipping Excuses show. I am so excited that you are here with us right here, right now. I've got a really good friend of mine that's joining us. He's one of the biggest and baddest individuals I know in the space of real estate. But before we go ahead and introduce him to you, what I want to do is just thank you if you are a returning subscriber. Thank you for being here with us right here. If you've left us a 5-star review, thank you very much. If you haven't, please go ahead and do that for us right away. We really appreciate those 5-star reviews, and your feedback is always welcome and encouraged so we could get out great shows for you. And if you are brand new, this is probably one of the best episodes that you have gotten yourself into here, because we've got a very good friend of mine on. After the show is done, make sure you go subscribe and leave us a 5-star review, because that's not only going to help us out, but it's going to help you out with getting more additional episodes of the No Flipping Excuses show out there. So without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, who pretty much helped me get started in the short sale business, which was my way of getting started in the business, the famous Mr. Jeff Watson. Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
Dude, it is a thrill to be here. I am far better than I deserve, and I'm not sure if I'm more of a myth than a reality. But anyhow, brother, it's great to be here.
No, man, I am so excited. When you said, yeah, shoot me some times when you're available for doing this, I got all excited, because I know when you came out and spoke at our RIA here, we got to spend a little bit of time together. But this is great. This is really great. Jeff.
Yeah. And you've got a good RIA there. I mean, I've been to more RIAs than I can remember, and I was impressed with what you've got going on there. So, yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Good job.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
you. Yeah, you did a great job too. Jeff, if you guys have not heard of Jeff Watson, we've got a really great episode for you here. We're going to be talking about real estate, and some of the things, especially like most of my business nowadays is, 65% of it's wholesaling. So we're going to talk a little bit about wholesaling on this show. But for those of you that don't know Jeff, I first found out about Jeff because he was known as the short sale lawyer, and it was a really difficult time around 2008, 2009. People weren't sure how to do what we call A to B, B2C transactions in a transparent and legal manner. And I started using Jeff's option contract that I had my attorney here in Indiana review, but gosh, that really got me started, and it really started to make things really easy in order to do short sale transactions. But Jeff, for people that don't know your background, don't know your story, why don't we kind of discuss, like, who is Jeff Watson?
All right. So Jeff Watson is a husband, a father, a born-again Christian. I've got 5 kids, 2 son-in-laws, and I have been practicing law since May of 1991. Been investing in real estate since January of 1994. That's when we closed on our first deal. Still own that house today.
Nice.
And I have done all sorts of things in the real estate space, and I have Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, paid the bill, removed my own stitches, made my, helped my scars heal, figured out what was stupid, figured out what was right, and have called bullshit on a lot of the stuff out there and have said, there's got to be a right way to do this stuff. And that's what I like to do, is just talk about the right way to do it, the compliant way to do it. And remember, the other thing I'm going to tell you is, dude, slow and steady wins the race. This is a game of investing, not a game of, how many deals can I do today or this week or this month? It's, what am I doing to move the needle on my bottom line of my balance sheet?
Yep.
Because it's that net worth that we're trying to accumulate. It's the cash flow from those assets that we're after.
Yep.
And so that's my mindset. That's a little bit about me. I mean, I've had a tremendous opportunity to be in the right place at the right time. Documents I've created have been used probably by 30 to 50,000 real estate investors to do hundreds of thousands of transactions.
Yep.
I've changed through litigation and legislation the law in the state of Ohio 5 times. I've changed federal housing policy law at least twice. I've influenced some other stuff. We're still working on some stuff in D.C. and Capitol Hill as it relates to the Dodd-Frank and SAFE Act. I'm privileged to represent some really well-known, significant real estate investors. I've done some really interesting transactions for them. General counsel of National RIA, represent some other organizations, and I can't let the cat out of the bag yet, but I got some other stuff just like pinch myself, it's that good.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Oh,
pinch
man.
myself, it's that good. I mean, just some opportunities out there that are really exciting in the space that I like, which is because I'm passionate about doing real estate investing the right way. And the two areas that I spend most of my time talking about now are compliance and doing wholesaling the right way, because 85-90% of the people out there doing it are doing it wrong, because they've been taught by somebody who was doing it wrong, because that guy learned from somebody who was doing it wrong, because that guy learned from somebody who was doing it wrong, because that guy learned from somebody who was doing it wrong, and they've all basically failed to read the code.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm really passionate about is self-directed retirement accounts, doing deals, making money tax-free. That is something I enjoy doing. So,
Yeah.
hey, man, with that being said, I will tell you this. I'm a full-time practicing attorney. I'm a part-time real estate investor, but I'm fixing to do my 4th deal of the year.
That's great. Now, everything
For a part-time guy, I think that's okay.
I would say that's a little bit more than okay in my book for part-time investing.
Well, but I want to get to where I've got this stuff systematized, streamlined, and automated to where, as a part-time guy, I'm doing a deal a week.
Yeah. No, and that absolutely can happen, especially with a lot of the folks you and I both know in this business, which is a pretty cool thing. So
yeah, we know some real hitters.
We do.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've got one right in your neck of the woods. So let me ask you this, Jeff. So since you kind of brought it up with the whole wholesaling thing, we hear you and I were talking at the RIA here, and I remember somebody said something like wholesaling, and I could just tell it made your skin jump and your blood boil. But for those folks that don't really know, because I'm not a big believer in, hey, use assignment of contracts and all that kind of stuff. I just do a simple A to B, B to C transaction. I use our own state approved purchase and sales agreements, and I just try and make it as simple as possible. Just doing a back-to-back closing. That's what I've done, but there's obviously a lot of folks out there.
That's good.
Yeah, and I remember you wanted to see one of the assignment contracts from a lot of the gurus out there, and I think we're not going to say any names, but the number that you told me, I think, was like 95% of them were like not legal. They were all illegal.
They got stuff wrong in them.
Yeah. No.
And Jason, it goes back to this, and this is. And I'm not gonna name any names, and I'm not attacking anybody in particular. But it goes back to this. I was still in law school when I attended my first real estate investing seminar.
Yeah.
I was, literally, here it is on a Saturday, my only day where I don't have to study hard. I'm driving an hour to go to this seminar. And my lovely wife didn't want to come with me, but that's fine. And I remember the guy speaking and teaching about wholesaling, and, he was from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I remember what he was talking about wholesaling, and it kind of, that was that first impression, so it always stuck in your mind.
Yeah.
And then decades later, as I start digging into wholesaling and the legality of it, and I start researching things, I realize, oh my soul, this dude back in 1990 was teaching it illegally.
Yeah.
Stuff he was talking about was illegal, was a violation of the laws. And I'm like, that explains it. We've had multiple generations, and piled on top of other multiple generations of trainers and ideas and gurus and thought leaders and everybody else, all teaching their idea of how to wholesale, and they all have it wrong.
Yeah.
Because they failed to do something really simple and fundamental. And I'm going to share with you, every one of your listeners, what that fundamental thing is, okay? Let's assume that you live in the middle of the state of Missouri or Tennessee or wherever.
Yeah.
Take and go to this amazing little thing called Google, okay? And type into the Google search bar, Tennessee or Missouri real estate license law, and hit enter, go, search, whatever. Or type in definition of real estate broker in the name of your state and hit search, and read what pops up. Because if you haven't read your state's licensure law, and if you haven't figured out how you can fit within one of the exceptions, then you're trying to build a house on thin air or shifting sand rather than on the rock of what we know is the law.
Right.
And we all know what happened to the dude that built his house on the sand, right? Looked good, easy to build. He got the chance to sun himself and enjoy a couple extra cold drinks while his neighbor was chiseling away in the stone. Man, when the storm rolled in, though, guess who still had their house and guess who didn't?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of, individuals out there that come up with these slick terms, of doing wholesaling a certain way. But it really boils down to, Jeff, just making sure that you
buy it cheap and sell it for more. That's really what wholesaling is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And just doing it in a way, because, Jeff, isn't the problem right now folks that are using assignment contracts that don't have a license, they're not a real estate agent, that's going to come down the pipeline here, that's more than likely going to be construed as commission, right?
Well, there's a problem with that, okay? And it depends on what state you're in as to how it is. I mean, Texas has already addressed this in a pretty good way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, Indiana and Illinois are coming down hard on this stuff, man.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm glad to hear that you and a couple of my friends and colleagues and clients in Chicago area are double closing most everything, which is the way to go.
Yeah.
It comes down to what your state's exceptions are to whether or not you need a real estate license, and it comes down to this. Do you own the real estate? If you own the real estate, you can do whatever you want to with it. You can sell it. You can advertise it. You can market it. You can parade 500 people through it. But if you don't own the real estate, you can't advertise it. You can't sell it. You can't parade 500 people through it because you don't own it.
Right.
And I don't care what you say. Oh, but I put this clause in the contract that says that I can do that. Well, guess what? It's not legal and enforceable.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. No, that makes perfect sense. And here's what we're going to do, folks. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation here with Mr. Jeff Watson and talk about some of the things that he's doing from a creative standpoint to create amazing cash flow that is coming out of the self-directed IRA, which a lot of folks, they've heard of an IRA, but not a lot of people have heard of a self-directed IRA and how you could really do real estate investing in a tax-free manner. We've covered it a little bit on some of our shows, but not in the length that we are going to on this show. So you do not want to miss the strategies that we're going to be talking about here with Jeff Watson, and also some additional stuff for wholesaling. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Have you been struggling to close your first real estate deal? I hear this all the time, and you're not the only person in the not having closed your first deal boat. I was there, and the feeling is horrible. I can tell you on page 103 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can easily overcome closing your first deal quickly and easily without using any of your own money or credit. My first deal closed when I was on vacation. I made $26,000. You can do the same thing. Grab a copy of my book at getmyflippingbook.com and you can get your first deal closed for massive profits. I have copies of my book available at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step plan for making profits on your first deal closing within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. That's getmyflippingbook.com. www.getmyflippingbook.com. Hey there, welcome back. It's Jason Lucchesi. Welcome back to the No Flipping Excuses show. I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Jeff Watson, the individual that pretty much helped me get my start in the business. He came out with the revolutionary idea to get going with an option contract back in the day, and a ton of us that did it the legal way had a lot of success with short sales. So Jeff and I have been talking about some of the things with wholesaling before we left and had a break. And if you missed that, don't worry. As soon as this is available on iTunes, you can always go back and rewind it. But if you're listening to us live, we're going to be talking about some stuff right now through self-directed IRA investing. Jeff was here not too long ago in Indiana for our Real Estate Investors Association and completely blew everybody away with how he's doing his investments and doing it in a tax-free manner. So, Jeff, with that being said, I know you do a lot of stuff with mobile units, and you're doing a lot of cool things because they obviously cash flow like crazy. But what's some of the stuff that you're doing nowadays with your self-directed IRA?
Okay, I'm doing two things with my IRA that are a little off the beaten path. I love doing Lonnie deals, Lonnie. It's a euphemism in the industry among us old timers. And I consider myself an old timer, okay? For the wonderful late gentleman by the name of Lonnie Scruggs, an amazingly kind, classy individual from Virginia Beach, Virginia,
awesome,
that pioneered how to buy mobile homes cheap for cash and then resell them on terms. And when I do that with my self-directed retirement accounts, my rate of return is generally north of 50%. So
nice.
It's a pretty good deal. And the other thing I love about them is there's really pretty much small dollar deals. I'm doing most of these deals with, $5,000 or less per deal.
Yeah.
And so if I can take $5,000 and I can put it out to work at a 50% rate of return, that's going to be a sizable chunk of money over time. And so let's just keep the thing running. The second thing that I do, and this is a concept that was taught to me finally was beat into my head by the beautiful and talented Dorsey Bodiford, who I get to see in a couple of days down there in Atlanta, Georgia. She helped me really get my hands around wrap loans. And once I understood how one loan is wrapping another loan, then it opened the door for even the next level stuff. And it's hard to explain, but we now do deals where we have multiple notes. Instead of one big loan to a rehabber, we now do deals where we might have 3 notes to the rehabber for the aggregate amount. And then we sell the notes at differing interest rates and take back the spreads and things like that. So it's really kind of a powerful way of juicing your retirement account dollars by getting other people involved and building your investing team and making everybody make money doing it,
Yeah.
So if I put together the deal, if I do the due diligence, if I'm paying for someone to do the legal docs and so on, then I bring somebody else in who's got money that otherwise is making, 1% in the bank, and if I show them how they can make 5 times as much, so now they're up to 5%, I don't feel badly on making the difference in the spread.
Yeah.
You know, so to put the money out on the street at 12% and they're making 5%, and I'm going to make 7% on their money, I'll do that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm not borrowing their money. I want to make them very clear. I don't borrow their money. They make their own separate loan, and then my loan wraps and encompasses their loan, and that's how I can take that extra, capture that extra spread.
Man, that's great.
Okay?
That's great. Yeah,
it goes back to the mindset of, you know, being the CEO millionaire of in a real estate related business, and, you know, creating every opportunity. And I focus on real estate, and that's, you know, I look at the deals and I go, how can I make this a deal? Because, Jason, you know this. You've seen this hundreds of times. You don't find great deals. Instead, great deals are made out of average deals because you're able to tweak and adjust the terms of the deal and the transaction to take it from an average deal to a great deal.
No, that's absolutely true. We were at lunch today, and we were talking about some creative ways on doing some deals, and we literally were able to make, like you said, a good deal into a great deal. And it's just all about, you know, using that brain you got. And if you have to, you know, talk to some other folks that might be a little bit smarter than you, sometimes it's not bad being a fly on the wall when you've got, you know, 7 and 8 figure earners in the room. Because that's how I was able to learn. I invested in masterminds to where people were doing gargantuan numbers, and that's where I was able to learn a ton. Then that concept came to me when I read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. You know, I was like, I immediately was like, I need to get involved with a high level mastermind. And even if I can't add value right off the bat, I know I'm going to be able to add value down the road. And that's exactly what I did, because most people, Jeff, they think they need to have like all of this, you know, knowledge to give to other people in order to receive. And that's not necessarily true, because it took me a little bit in order to give to those other folks. And, you know, it was definitely like somebody like yourself. Like, how am I supposed to give back to this guy when he came out with this option contract in the way that he did? And how am I going to be able to do that? Now we've been able to do things over the years together. And I didn't think of that in the beginning, but it kind of grows that way.
Yeah, I'm going to fill in a couple of gaps here. I co-created the option contract. It wasn't exclusively my idea. Bob Middleman and his wife came up with parts of it, and I put it all to paper, and, you know, I tweaked it and adjusted it. You know, my good friend Rabbi Bob. But here's what it is. I'm going to just suggest this to every one of your listeners. Make a list of your 5 to 8 closest friends, the people that you routinely hang out with. If their net worth is not more than yours, change some of your friends. I made a list the other day, and pretty much almost all of the people that make the top 5, top 10 on my list are multimillionaires. Okay.
Yep.
And that's what I want it to be, because that's where I'm. That, you know, because I'm going for numbers that scare me even to say them, so I won't even say it. And I'm not doing it to get greedy, and I'm not going to do it in a hurry. I mean, this is a lifelong process. Slow and steady wins the race. I mean, that book, The Tortoise and the Hare, when I understood how Truett Cathy was teaching from that book and how he wanted everyone in his business to read it, his grandkids especially, I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, here's a guy that starts with one chicken restaurant and builds this huge dominant thing called Chick-fil-A. With slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
You don't argue with that success. Okay? You know, I'm looking for people who are going to be in business for the next 20 years, not people who've just come out of nowhere the last 5 years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing I'm going to throw at you is this. If you're consistently the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And this weekend, I'm headed down to be in a room with a bunch of really smart people. And I know that I'm not the smartest guy in that room. But I'm there to learn. Yes, I'll be giving, I'll be receiving, I'll be sharing. I'm sure I'll pick up some clients. But it's there to just learn and network and so on. And I'm looking forward to it, you know?
No, that's great.
Jason, I'm going to throw out one more thing at you, okay? This will give some people some background on me in another way. I was privileged to listen to and learn from the late Jack Miller. And if you didn't know Jack, you probably don't know jack about real estate investing. Okay? That man, Jason, I swear to you, the first time I sat in a seminar, a 3-day seminar, the first 30 minutes, I was lost. I was confused. He was so far over my head. I was struggling. I mean, here I am. This guy is teaching short sales training all across America, and I'm sitting in this room, and this dude is just blown past me. Then I realized he's teaching from the tax code. Okay.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I know. He's just brilliant. But then I got news for you. Even though he passed away, his stuff is still available. Cash Flow Depot.
Man, we've been covering some amazing stuff here. So let me ask you this.
We've covered a lot of ground, man.
We have within a short period of time. Let's talk about this, because this is something that I wish I would have had when I was getting started as a real estate investor, and talking to somebody like you, because I don't think I talked to you until about like a year and a half that I was into the business. And we met at one of Nathan Druitt's and Chris McLaughlin's events. And I remember I was able to just catch you for a second and talk to you. But let's talk about this. Like, if somebody is brand new starting out, Jeff, let's say they're going down the wholesaling path, what would you recommend to them? What would you recommend, like a starting point for them?
I would recommend 4 things. Okay. Number 1, do the research I told you in the earlier segment to do.
Yep.
Google your state's licensure law. Google your state's definition of real estate broker. Make sure that you know where your rules are. Second thing I would do is I would introduce myself to as many people in my circle of influence as possible, basically saying, hey, listen, part of what I do is I help people with problem properties. We all know that sometimes people have a house that's given them a problem. I can help them solve that problem. If you know somebody, give me a call.
Yeah.
Start building relationships, word of mouth marketing and relationships. It's free, it's cheap, it's easy, and follow up. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to sound so freaking antiquated, but I'm answering this as if I had to do this on the cheap.
Yeah.
Okay? I would get a set of 4x6 index cards, or I would get a bound notebook, and I'd create a card or a page for each one of my top 50 best relationship contacts. And I would calendar out, when am I talking to these people? How did I reach out to them? When did I text them? When did I call them? Did I shoot them an email? Did I send them a little handwritten note and card? What did I do? Okay, no joke. And just today in the mail, 2 handwritten note cards from people who attended an event I spoke at 10 days ago. They listened to what we were talking about.
Yep.
Okay, that's 2 things I would do. The third thing I would do is, as I'm starting to create some buzz, I would get my hands on a really good set of contractual documents. In a lot of states, they've got pre-printed forms you have to follow. You mentioned it there in Indiana that you got to do. You can do that in Florida. You do that in Texas. You do that in California. You do that in a lot of places, okay? So don't try and take and fit some other state's stuff into you. Don't do that. When you're wholesaling, simple, clean contracts work best. You need a good contract to buy with. You need a good contract to sell with. You can do the same thing you can buy and sell with the same contract. It's how you fill it out. Make sure you've got a real good, simple, clean assignment addendum that you can add to a contract to assign it over. So that's the third step you got to do. Then the fourth step is really simple. You need to create relationships with a couple of different title companies or title attorneys.
Yeah.
Find out what it costs to close a deal. Find out how they want you to submit the deal. Find out what you're doing. Find out what's the best way to communicate with them. What days of the week are they the most busy? What times of seasons of the month are they swamped with deals that it's harder to contact them? Get these little things out of the way, create a relationship, leave a gift with them, and then go from there. And then, dude, then you've got to start figuring out, how am I going to start bringing in more deals? Because talking to people is great, but then you got to start figuring out how to get more deals. And you got to look and say, okay, who are a group of people I can build a relationship with? They're going to start feeding me deals. In your market, it may be real estate agents. In your market, it may be other investors. It may be people bidding at foreclosure auctions in your market. It may be your local REIA. It may be whatever.
Yeah.
Whoever you got relationships with. That's how I'd get started. And that's assuming you got That's assuming that you don't have but $5 to $10 in your pocket to go buy the index cards. Okay.
I'm laughing because that was literally me. In my newest book that's going to be coming out here soon, I literally talk about how I had probably just enough money for a $5 like a $5 foot long. And that was me. That was me. I didn't have enough money for the softwares or anything like that. So getting the index cards and doing the yellow letters that I did myself, that's what it kind of boiled down to. So go ahead.
And I mean, instead of wasting money on buying a list, instead of wasting money on CRM software and finding all that stuff that you can fuss around with and feel good like you're doing something, talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my name's Jeff, and I buy houses from people who don't want them anymore.
Yeah.
If you happen to know somebody that's got a house that they can't sell or that they need to sell in a hurry, can you give me a call? I'll be happy to see if I can help them.
Well, the other thing too, Jeff, is I'm a big believer in, yes, those things are great for you, but do your first few deals, make some money to where then you could justify those expenditures, because so many people want to get in and buy this, buy that, and next thing you know, you're in debt before you even make a profit. So go out, do a few deals, and then definitely invest in some sort of a CRM. There's so many out there right now, but you can. Well,
I think the best one I happen to have a really good relationship with, and that's RealFlow. Set me up beautifully for that. Thank you.
I did.
Thank you very much. I mean, but and we make RealFlow disgustingly affordably cheap. Okay, we do.
I agree.
But I'm going to tell you, it's not that I don't want you to spend the money. It's I don't want you to get sidetracked. I don't want you to have to spend the time thinking that you're working on your business when you're understanding how Josh Tobias teaches you how to use this aspect of RealFlow that you might not need to use for another 3 freaking years.
Yeah.
No, right now you need to go do a deal. You need cash flow like you need oxygen. Go do a deal. Talk to people.
Yep.
Don't listen to how to do RealFlow and master all the nuances of that amazing, powerful software.
Yeah.
Yes, you will come back and you will do that, but that's after you've got these deals starting to flow in.
I agree. What do you think of somebody starting right now in 2018? Do you think it's a good thing, or what do you think of 2018?
It's a great thing. I think it's a great time. It's a great time to get into real estate investing. I think it's a fantastic time. There's certain aspects of the market that I would avoid.
Yeah.
There's certain types of deals that I would not be doing. And then there's certain kinds of deals that I would be doing all day long and twice on Sunday. Small dollar deals, tax-free deals, I'll do them all day long. Wholesale deals, absolutely. Am I going to take on, as a brand new real estate investor just getting market, am I going to take on some big colossal rehab? No frickin' way.
Yeah.
Am I, as a brand new investor, going to go try and take down this huge multifamily apartment complex? No frickin' way. Okay? Don't do that.
Right.
Learn the basics, make some money, keep your risk down. And I'm going to tell you one other thing, and this is going to make some people mad at me, and I don't care. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
My attitude is yuck banks. Don't be borrowing money from banks.
No, I agree.
The second most important circle of your relationships are on private lenders, not on bankers, not on credit cards, not on lines of credit. Screw them.
Yeah.
They are thieves. The borrower is slave to the lender, and so if I'm going to be a slave, I want to pick the master that I can have the best conversation with, which is another private lender that has a clue about what's going on in the market.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. And for some of us investors out there, Jeff, that are a little bit more seasoned, we know that. And even if you're brand new getting started, talking to the individuals that are your cash buyers, those are going to be individuals that are going to more than likely turn into your private money lenders, because that's what happened with me. Conversations went from, hey, are you interested in these 3 ones that I have, to, hey, would you be interested in receiving this on the property? And then it's completely hands off for them at that point. They're making their money on the property and they're lending to you. It's a much safer opportunity than maybe doing stocks or whatever else is the big buzz nowadays. But Jeff, what do you kind of see?
Cryptocurrency, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but I'm going to tell you one other thing that you might have noticed this, and this is kind of interesting. What's one thing I have not said a brand new real estate investor needs to do? And remember, I'm a lawyer.
Have contracts reviewed by an attorney?
No, I said go get a good set of
You
contracts.
did. You did.
I did say that.
You did.
I didn't say go set up your entities.
That is right. I was just going to say that.
I watch two. I mean, this is. I just shake my head, close my eyes because I have the visions of all these people. They come to me and they go, Jeff, I'm getting started as a real estate investor, and I really have this question about should I establish a sub-S corporation or should I establish an LLC? What do you think I should do? And my answer is you should go do a deal.
Yes.
You need to go find somebody who wants to sell a house.
Yeah. I would agree.
They look at me like, well, I want to be protected. I go, well, what do you own? What's your net worth right now? Well, Jeff, I'm struggling. I'm poor. I don't have any money. I've kind of got a negative net worth. Great. So if you get sued, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
If you're broke, they can't make you any broker.
Right.
So I watch these people get wrapped around these high-end programs out of these rip-off outfits out of Nevada and elsewhere in Utah, where they're cramming these super expensive boilerplate crap down their throat at outrageous prices, thinking, oh, I got a corporation, I got an LLC, I got a self-directed this, I got that. And I'm like, you don't have a deal.
Yeah.
You got debt, but you don't have a deal.
No, that I agree.
Entities you have no clue how to use, but you don't have a deal.
Yeah.
No,
even before my first deal, and I could speak on this because I wish, if I could have gone back and redid it. So folks that are listening right now could take what we had as mistakes and learn from them, because I spent the company that I bought my LLC through is no longer there in Las Vegas, but I bought the Nevada corporation because some guru was like, oh, you need to do this. And so we bought that, and then we bought their business building credit thing. So we bought that. So before we did a deal, Jeff, just by setting up some sort of their Nevada LLC, we were like $5,000 in the hole. $5,000 in the hole because they promised us with their business credit building program that we would be able to get lines of credit and we'd be able to buy deals left and right. Well, that never happened. We got a good Paydex score, but that was it.
Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you back. And exactly how has having a Nevada entity helped you?
Oh, it hasn't at all. So that's one of the funny things is they try and trick you in thinking that a Nevada corporation is good, but I don't live there 51% out of the year, so having it in Nevada is pretty much useless. It is.
Particularly if you're in Indiana or if you're in Ohio and you're trying to do business in your local state and they look you up and you're not domiciled here, you're registered somewhere else. Well, when you get fixed and brought back into Ohio, then we'll do business with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that over and over. I don't like that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. I study the difference in the states, and I'm going to tell you flat out, straight up, Nevada and Wyoming are not the best states for asset protection anymore. They're asking for too much personal information. They're almost as nosy as Sunbiz in Florida. The best two states I'll give you the top three states in my opinion: Delaware, Ohio, and Alaska. Those are the top three states right now. And I mean, what makes Alaska so exciting is no one thinks to look there.
That's true. That's true.
No one thinks to look there.
That is true.
If you want to go hide some assets, if you really want to go hide some assets, you might want to take advantage of either an Ohio or a Alaska specialty trust. I can't even remember the name of them right now because I haven't messed with them in a while. But there's some special trusts recognized by Alaska law, Ohio law, Nevada law, and so on. Domestic Asset Protection Trust is what they're called.
Yeah.
And Alaska's got some really interesting characteristics, and no one thinks to look outside the continental 48 for your assets. But
that
it's
is
still
true.
In the United States, and you don't have to worry about some tin pot dictator in the Caribbean or in the South Pacific taking over the island and declaring martial law and shutting down everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm not trying to. I'm just being real, man. I'm just being me.
No, that makes sense. I tell folks all the time, you can be a sole proprietor. There's nothing wrong with doing that, with getting your first few deals under your belt, because even HUD Home Store, you could buy as an investor, as a sole proprietor. You don't need to enter in your LLC. You could buy it using your social security number. So there's no reason to get that set up. And we have, folks that will fund your deals if you need them funded, and you could do it as a sole proprietor. So it makes sense, Jeff.
And then when you get a couple of nickels together, then when your net worth is no longer negative.
Yeah.
And let's say your net worth is somewhere between $50,000 and $150,000. Then it's time to get out of, then it's time to start acting like an adult and put on a business suit and get your entities set up the right way. Let's get out of the gym clothes. Let's put on the suit. Let's get it set up the right way so that we can grow this thing in the future and so on. And that's about the price point I would tell people. Once you accumulate about $50,000 to $100,000 worth of assets, it's time to start protecting them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if you're like the guy I'm working with right now, dear friend of mine, good client, he waited a little long. He's now only got about $1 million in residential real estate, and he says now, like, Jeff, okay, now I need to protect it. I'm like, okay, so it's a little bit more work, but we'll do it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
So here's what we're gonna do, Jeff.
I'm not complaining. It's all good stuff.
Absolutely. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come back with we got a quick break that we need to take here, but we're gonna come back. We're gonna give Jeff some quick hot seat questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap up from there. So we've got some amazing stuff coming up. You're not gonna want to miss it. We're gonna ask Jeff some really, really great questions here that you're not gonna want to miss the answers to. So we'll be right back. Stay in your seat. Talk to you in a minute. I hear from real estate investors how much of a challenge it is finding motivated sellers. This is happening all over the country. Real estate investors not knowing where their next deal will come from. I can tell you on page 141 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can easily find deeply discounted off-market deals. The 98% of investors out there don't have a clue about this. You can easily duplicate this process within your own business today. Grab a copy of my book now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can start finding deals for 50, 40, and 30 cents on the dollar without any competition. I have copies of my book available right now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step plan for making profits within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. That's getmyflippingbook.com. It's www.getmyflippingbook.com. Hey there, it's Jason Lucchesi, and welcome back to the No Flipping Excuses show. I'm joined by my good friend and attorney, Mr. Jeff Watson, and we've literally been dropping, well, not me, I've been maybe filling in a little bit, but it's mainly been Jeff just dropping some major bombs that are going to help you and your business. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit different with the No Flipping Excuses show, since we have Jeff and he's actually the first attorney to be on our show. I'm going to ask him some hot seat questions here. Jeff, are you ready?
Go for it.
All right. What do you think State of the Union wise for 2018 as us real estate investors?
Market's going to stay strong. The high-end area is going to cool off a little bit. Tax reform is going to cool off some of the high-end stuff, coastal areas as well. Market's going to stay strong. If employment continues to go like it is, if wages start to move up, market's going to be good. I think we've got another 18 months before I'm going to start to think that days on market are going to get long.
Okay.
I'll leave it like that.
Okay.
Now, but I'll tell you what, and this is, I don't know how your audience is going to react to this. If the Democrats get control of one or more houses in the midterm elections at the end of this year, I'm gonna be looking for the ejector seat right away. I'm expecting them to crash this thing.
So you think if that happens, the market's going to correct in a really, really bad way?
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something. This time it's going to be different. This time is going to be different than any other time before. We are more interconnected. We are more aware of what's going on. You and I have friends all over America. The moment that the luxury high-end stuff in Deer Park, Utah started more and more sellers wanted to get involved selling their stuff, I knew about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment it happened, I knew about it because of relationships. The moment the San Francisco market started to get towards the top edge, we knew about it. The moment Miami started to get towards its top edge, we knew about it. Why? Because we're all more interconnected than we were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it's going to correct faster. When it corrects, it's going to happen faster.
Yeah. No, I hear you. No, that's a great response. Let's do hot seat question number 2. What is your favorite book and why?
Oh, my favorite book
business book, or some sort of a business / motivation book. What would it be?
Right now, I'm really going through and being nourished by the Book of Psalms in the Old Testament. Amazing stuff written by King David. The dude was a genuine badass. If you read the history on David, the dude was a badass.
Hot seat question number 3 here is, what is your favorite investing strategy?
Wraps. I want to do wraps. Because it's me lending a little bit of money, $2,000 to $5,000, enjoying a ride on somebody else's $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, and I don't have to buy anything. I just can manage the relationships and the paper.
No, those
are my favorite deals.
No, that's great, Jeff. That's great. And for folks that want to carry on the conversation with you above and beyond the No Flipping Excuses show, what's a great way for them to reach out to you, Jeff?
They can queue up. That means they can get in line to chat with me because I'm booked solid between now and when I leave for vacation in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
They can get a hold of me and they can absorb a ton of my material all by going to watsoninvested.com. I put a ton of stuff out there for free. Got some amazing videos on HSAs, wholesaling, self-directed retirement account investing. A lot of blog articles on mindset and business and insurance and real estate investing strategies and all that other stuff, all at watsoninvested.com, watsoninvested.com. And Jason, I got to tell you, I should have said this at the very beginning. I am probably the second most popular Jeff Watson on the internet.
Well, who's the first
guy? The first guy just blows us all away. It's a guy by the name of Jeff Watson, who is an amazing guitarist, formerly of the band Night Ranger.
Oh, nice.
This dude dominates all of the Google search rankings for under the name Jeff Watson. I mean, he's got video after video after video out there. I can't compete. I do manage to crack top 10, but this dude's dominant. I'm not a musician. I don't have long hair. I can't carry a tune to save it on a radio or a pod, on an iPod. All I can do is just talk about real estate.
That's awesome.
WatsonInvested.com, 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 and one more time, WatsonInvested.com.
Well, what I was going to say was you definitely need to go over there because get on Jeff's email list because he fires off emails and those things are golden. Every time he fires off an email, it's talking about something new that you need to be aware of, and that's something that's just invaluable that Jeff does for being on his email list absolutely for free. So Watson Invest is highly, highly recommended from us over at the No Flipping Excuses show. With that being said, Jeff, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Is there any final words that you want to give to our individuals that are with us?
I do. I'm gonna wrap this up by saying this: you will be in 5 years exactly the person that you surround yourself with, that you listen to, the books you read, and the decisions you make.
Yep.
You have to win the war in your mind every day in the battle against yourself. You are your biggest liability. You are also your greatest asset. You've got to make sure you build the asset side and tell the liability side to shut up and sit in the corner.
Yep.
Okay? Get after it every day. You got to win every day. You cannot say, listen, I'm going to win 4 days every week because then I can afford to lose 3 days. No, that doesn't work. You better win at least 5 days a week in order to get anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay? You got to win 5 days a week. And folks, the last thing I'm going to tell you is this. I'm going to tell you this straight up. Slow and steady wins the race. Live on less than you make. Invest for the long term. Reduce your taxes by using Roth IRAs. And always, always get good advice. Listen to podcasts like this. Absorb the information. And then do something with it. Do something with it.
Yep. Absolutely. Because I said this not too long ago. Knowledge is knowledge. Hold on. Were you the one? No. I saw this from a friend. Knowledge is knowledge, but power is power. Unless you actually do something with the knowledge, all it's going to be is knowledge. So if you want to go above and beyond, take that knowledge and put it into action. Because unless these shows are useless unless you actually take what we talk to you about and go apply it. So, Jeff, thank you, my brother, for being on here. I truly, truly appreciate you. You always rock it out and over-deliver on information for our individuals. So thank you so much, Jeff, for being here with us right here, right now. For those that need our help, if you want to reach out, it's 317-900-1307. Feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help you. Our support email is support@jasonluchesi.com, and that's spelled LUCCHESI.com. And make sure, head on over to Jeff's site, watsoninvested.com, to get some awesome insight and updates on what's going on right now in the real estate community. But with that being said, I'm Jason Lucchesi. Thanks for being here, and thanks again, Jeff, for being our guest on today's episode.
Thanks for listening. For show notes and links to anything discussed on today's program, visit noflippingexcuses.com. If you'd like to call the show, dial 317-900-1307, 24/7. Leave a message with your first name and where you're calling from, and include your question, comment, or concern. Who knows? You might end up on the air with Jason Lucchesi. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. The links are posted at noflippingexcuses.com. Remember, you can close more deals now, make your own rules, and design and live an amazing life without having some jerk-off boss tell you what to do. Share noflippingexcuses.com with like-minded people you know who are ready for badassery, crushing it in real estate, and enjoying freedom to whatever you like, whenever you like it.